morning.
Good morning.
She looks like sunshine. I love this color on her.
Sweet.
She looks so pretty today.
That's because you've been used to seeing me in that
pink
for months.
Floral pink.
For months.
Shirt.
I haven't been bitten in a while, so I think that I'm probably okay to wear this today.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember.
Yes.
Now. Yeah.
So,
okay.
We have our new equipment.
Yes, look at this.
We have some of our new equipment that might be working. And I was telling Susan before we started the video, I'm fried. My brain is fried from it because it's so much information. And I know when I was younger, you know, I did a lot of technical stuff and it was hard, but usually you had somebody kind of talking you through it. And all you have now is a bajillion page document on the road site, RODE, the equipment site. Eric's like, go get the manual. I'm like, I'm not pulling down a 450 page manual on this stuff, but I have watched videos.
Well, the manuals,
I forget I'm supposed to talk into
the manuals, the print is the smallest print I think they can possibly find to print something in. So I can't usually read it unless I were to get a magnifying glass or something. So I'm thankful for the videos of anything.
I don't like to read it. I wonder, is everybody this way? I don't like to read things on a device. I want it in hard copy. I want it in paper. All of my books, I don't do audiobooks. My husband loves audiobooks. Lots of friends love audiobooks.
I love audiobooks.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't gotten used to that.
That's, well, because when I travel, which I do quite a bit with kids living in different states and my mother living in another state, I listen to audiobooks. And if I read...
Okay, in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done them in the car.
But if I sit down to read, number one, I really can't sit down during the day and read because I want to be doing something that I'm moving. But then when I sit down at night to read, I'll get sleepy and go to sleep. So I would like to be able to read. I would like to be able to sit down during the daytime and read a book or read part of a book. But I don't know, I'm not made that way, you know. But I'm trying to keep from saying that makes me feel lazy, because I get on to my mother for saying she's lazy because she's nothing. I mean, she's nothing but lazy. I mean, she's not lazy, whatever that means. She's 90, and up until probably a year ago, she could work circles around both of us. But
so that's where you got it. That if you relax and sit, then there's a message that I'm lazy and
I can't do it. So, but I like audiobooks. But I love the videos because I can look at a video of how to. I've got this little bitty turbo fan, and it stopped running, and it's because I run it all the time right on my face at night to sleep. And I thought it was like $30-something, even though it's a little bitty fan. I thought I'm not gonna buy another one. So I just pulled up a video of this guy taking it apart, and I just took my fan apart, cleaned it, and put it back together, and it was like,
seriously, this is how this is the path to making videos, because
I love
YouTube has been a big part of my life over the last couple of years, because everything I want to know, I just watch a YouTube of it.
Yes.
Okay, my husband's here, and he is in charge of taking care of little dogs that are barking and yapping. So I may have to go downstairs and find him.
We can pause for a moment.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure too that we have the recorded.
We forgot to click.
Oh, we did.
Oh well.
Shoot, we did. Yeah. We have so many new things that we have to be mindful of. But okay, let's stop the recording.
We're back.
That was our clap.
Oh, yes. We have to clap. Oh, this is a lot, but yeah, it's fun. So what do you want to talk about today? You had some things on your mind.
I have scrambled eggs in my brain right now.
Oh.
So I'm trying to think I do know what I wanted to talk about today, but wasn't there something else we needed to do first over here? So before we got interrupted from the barking, what were we talking about?
Girl, I forgot.
Yeah. Oh well. Okay.
Yeah. I don't even have my notepad today. That was an oversight on my part. I'm sorry. Ooh.
I thought we'd be able to hear it outside of the box, but we don't. We don't hear it outside the box. Get us back to that. It's gonna have play this long trombone sound.
Oh. I have a small one of these, and this is scaring me to death. I ain't even gotten mine out of the box.
So our goal, right? Our goal is to be able to do some live YouTube sessions. And I think that part's going to be really fun. And we'll have guest speakers.
Yeah.
And we'll have people who can send us emails ahead of time to say, I want y'all to talk about this or talk about that. And I'm excited about doing that, but it means we needed to have this little thing. It's called Rodecaster Duo. And it meant we needed to upgrade our audio, which is part of the Rodecaster, but our mics and everything. And it also means we as in me probably needs to learn how to use OBS, which is Open Broadcasting System or software. I don't know. It's free. It's free. And then you download it, and then that allows you to do sessions and stuff online.
I didn't know that. Why I'm here.
Well,
I hope she doesn't start asking that question.
Who was the guy? Okay, I know I like the Big Duke guy, but I also like this other guy that is called Big Ward the Genius. Have you heard of Big Ward the Genius?
Sent me something about.
Yeah. Okay. So he's African American, and he is a huge man. He's huge in terms of how big he is physically, but he's also got over 50,000 subscribers. He is giving people his email. And, you know, I think as a therapist, I could never do that because I probably would be somehow liable for people's decisions since, you know, if they're telling you information that they're, you know, suicidal and stuff. But he responds to all of those kinds of emails.
Does he have a job other than this?
Yes.
Wow.
He drives trucks of some kind. I'm not exactly sure what the trucks are that he does, but yeah, he is working, and a lot of his videos are from him sitting in his car working.
I do remember him because he sits in his car a lot and talks.
He sits in his car and talks, but he does really good Saturday night live YouTube sessions. And this is pathetic that on Saturday night, this is what Laura Vogel is doing. It's really...
Well, I mean, we are a little older than well, I mean, when you get older, you don't really go out on Fridays and Saturdays like you did when you were young.
Yeah, I like Friday nights probably better, but Saturday night, that's amateur night. I'm not getting out on Saturday night. Everything's crowded, especially, you know, here at the beach and stuff.
Yeah, true.
But anyway, so I saw him doing his live, and I called in. I didn't call in, but I know I did not call in at all, but I watched.
Oh, okay.
I've signed in to watch a couple of times, and not the whole time because he does it for 3 hours. I don't have enough to say for 3 hours.
To watch for a minute or so. But well, we're not as interesting as he is then.
Yeah, so it's something to watch. But I foolishly thought, well, it can't be that hard making your YouTube live. I mean, how hard can that be? But apparently, there's a lot to it.
Well, but I wonder how he does it from his car.
Oh, no, he does it from his home.
Oh, okay.
He does it from his home. Not only that, but I want to say the dude is in the groove. Like, he is wearing his gold jewelry
he's
and his
up.
little
hat. Night.
It's his Saturday night. He's dressed up. He looks like he's going to the club right after the show.
Well, when you were telling me that about it being hard, I thought, well, it can't be that hard because, you know, you see on Facebook people who Facebook Live all the time, but it's a totally different thing. And you explained that to me. I was not understanding that it was so different.
So the problem is, I'm telling you what I am learning, but there's so much information out there. I might be overlooking something that is very simple. It's possible YouTube has some way of doing it where you don't need anything, but from what I understand from all of the videos I've watched, you need to have this little audio mixer thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then you need to
Okay.
have a good internet connection. So
Well, that
that'll
would
be
be
another
for
thing,
sure.
right? Because we're using Wi-Fi. We might need a hotspot to get the Wi-Fi upstairs. We won't know until we start using it.
Well, except
So,
that
well-
when I use the computer up here, it's good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
good.
I'm not being
So-
kicked off. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay, now, are
No.
you hot right now?
Well,
Because you're normally the warm one up here.
yeah, it is going to get warm because we have all these lights on.
So I'm going to take a little moment here to fix
Adjust.
this.
Usually she's not as warm-blooded as I am.
Oh, girl, it's on 75.
Oh, I'm
No
glad
wonder.
you did that because
Yeah.
I'd be dying. What'd you put it on? 74?
73. Listen to you.
Usually she'll go, oh, well, you can put it down a degree. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Except for nighttime. Okay, it's another story at nighttime. It's got to be cold.
Yeah,
It's got to be like 72. And the fan's blowing for me to
She's
sleep.
sweating.
I am. And I have a little hand fan.
Oh,
And I'm looking around going,
good.
what in the world? I don't have it up here. I have it in my purse downstairs.
But what'd you put it on?
Put it on 73. It's going to cool off. I can feel it
I
right
can
now.
feel it already. Yeah.
It's good.
That's interesting because they're up there, but I can feel the breeze coming
There's one right there.
under my skirt.
Oh, look over to your left.
Oh, well, that's the intake though. Oh, okay, never mind. It's just pulling, sucking the air in there.
Is that it?
Mhm.
Okay.
She thinks it's blowing out, but no, it's pulling
did.
the air in, so it's
Oh, my
pulling it
gosh.
past us. It's okay. It's
Okay.
okay.
So now,
Yeah.
I did have a topic that I thought would be fun to do a video on. I don't know if it'd be fun, but I did have a
Interesting.
topic that I thought would be good. And the reason I think that is because I have had so many clients who have gone through different life transitions.
Mhm.
Like if you're retiring, or you're getting a divorce, or now you're an empty nester, your final baby has left home, or your best friend has moved out of town. Lots of reasons can get us in a place where we have what is basically a friendship deficit, support
true.
deficit.
That's true.
Those are big words. So it just means, you're lonely.
Yeah.
Okay, you're lonely
You're
and you
lonesome.
just need friends. So this is a video on how to make new friends. And I have the 5 steps of making new friends.
And I am not aware of any of this yet, so I may butt in. And
I want
I'm
you to
gonna
butt
get
in.
that hair.
Okay, she's cleaning me up,
Friends,
you know.
friends don't let friends have chin hair. That's one of the things they don't have, which we don't have.
No, we don't.
When I saw that hair
I'm
hanging
like,
down there.
Don't be saying I have chin hair.
Well, if you did, that was a
No.
long one. No.
No.
No. Anyway,
Okay,
yeah, I'm
so-
very familiar with this dilemma, which is why I'm interested in hearing what you've got to say.
Yeah,
Because I have relocated several times under different situations. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard.
Well, you have a lot to offer.
Mm.
So,
Hopefully.
we talked about all the ways that you might be in a situation where you need to make new friends, but men also. And unfortunately, I think men have a much harder time. Men will make new friends as in girlfriends. They will gravitate to having women friends,
Yeah.
married or
Because
single.
we're so much fun.
Well, we're more open to new friends, and I think for men,
True.
it's a little bit more difficult because of what our culture says to, what it means to be a man. But with that said,
Maybe.
and as a side item, have you noticed when you look at our analytics that we have almost a 50-50 mix of men and women? What is that? Is that right?
I actually noticed on one, maybe it was the Crafts Gone Wrong. I think it was like way more men than women. Maybe it was because of Garth Brooks. You have to watch that one.
All his fans.
Yeah, well, yes. But anyway.
Okay, so step 1. This is the top. I'm gonna have to edit that because I mean, my brain is not working.
It's okay.
I have to just edit this. Ugh.
It's okay.
Okay. Step one
Mhm.
is initiate. So I've had clients who will say, you know, I was always friends with people or dated people because they invited me to be their friend, or basically they initiated.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have never in your life had to initiate for whatever reason, because people are gravitating to you and you don't have to do that, I guarantee you the day's going to come when you are going to have to initiate. And it's a skill. So how do you, I mean, skill is anything else that we learn. And so people have this fear of rejection.
Mm-hmm.
And so mentally you have to kind of prepare yourself that,
yeah,
you might be rejected, but we'll talk about mentally how to handle that part. But as the initiator, go to places where people are doing the things that you like. If you like art, if you like looking at art, you'd go to a museum. If you like doing art, go take an art class or wherever your kind of art, right, is being done. If you like kayaking, you're going to go kayaking. So you're going to go to those places that you're interested in to meet other people who are doing those things.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so initiating sounds like this. Hey, I've seen you here a couple of times when I've come kayaking. Is this something you do with your family, or regularly are you here? And you might say, oh yeah, I come, blah, blah, blah. You know, maybe you'll say I have a big family. Maybe you'll say, oh, I just moved here. You know, whatever your answer is, it's the initiating the conversation. And once I wouldn't say that you just met somebody, so you say, I want your phone number, but initiating means you're going to be the one who's willing to ask for contact information. And, you know, that's another layer of difficulty if you've never used that skill before.
You gotta step out.
Yeah.
It's hard to step out.
Well, and that's number 2. Step out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, you're going to do things that are just for the sake of adventure. That's all you need to think about. Don't think about whether or not you're actually going to learn bowling, or, I mean, I can't think of the types of things that I've heard clients say, yeah, but I don't want to go do that. I don't think I'd be any good at that. So you have to take that mindset away. Just doing something that you haven't done before. It can be anything. It's novelty, right? Novelty, doing something that you have never done. It gives us endorphins. So that feeling of well-being, like, you know, I could tackle anything. You're going to get that. And even if you're not good at it, the fact that you challenged yourself to do something different and you've actually accomplished that goal, you're going to get endorphins from that. And you can get on a roll where it becomes easier over time to continue trying, you know, those new things. And so for some people, the new thing might be that I'm gonna ask that other woman over there if she wants to meet for coffee after yoga class. And maybe you know how scary that is. And so, you know, you're going through the whole yoga class going, I'm gonna do it. You know, and then she leaves early. So maybe it's next week. But, you know, making new friends means that we're going to have to initiate. You have to know that you're going to be the one to ask. And that when you step out of your box and you do new things, it grows our sense of confidence.
I can see that, yeah. Yeah.
So you got any other things to say about that?
Well, I when you said that about the endorphins, I know that when I come upon something, whether it's learning something new or trying to meet somebody, it's just something new that you've not done, I get immobile and I just like freeze in that area. And then but I'm thinking about it all the time. And I'm thinking about that I want to do it. But I think that part of that fear is failure. It doesn't work or whatever. And the lack of maybe knowledge if it's something that I've never done before and it's going to take a skill or whatever. But then it's like one day I just go, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And then I do it and I'm like, oh my gosh, why did it take me so long? Because that felt so good. And I could have had that feeling a lot sooner, you know? And I think over the years, I have learned to do it quicker, but I will tell you that I still probably freeze up for some limited amount of time. So my goal would be to not be immobile so long, because I think
I totally relate to that. When my husband and I got together, I was 39, and when we got married, I was 42. Somewhere between 39 and 42, I had the idea that I was going to take golf lessons. And I had already gone to the driving range with him or other boyfriends before him, and I knew that I sucked. Like I could stand and see the ball and miss the ball by like 2 feet. And so I thought, I'm gonna go take some lessons. So I signed up for the lessons and I paid for the lessons. And I canceled my appointment and I canceled the next appointment. I was so frozen with fear, just absolute fear and anxiety about going. Why? I don't know. I really don't understand why that was so difficult.
I don't know either.
And I remember thinking, Eric, you know, we hadn't been together that long. And I remember thinking, this guy must think I'm a total nut because I said I'm going to do it. And I just keep not doing it. And so, you know, I talked to him about it. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I know I'm scared to go. And I think it was a lot of things, but when I did go, it was probably 4 lessons I paid for. I remember learning the grip. And I remember him, you know, they kind of hold you know, guide you as you do your swing and all of that. And I sucked at it. I really did. I was terrible. And so after those 4 times, I felt really proud of myself that I had done it, followed through on the commitment. But there's no way in hell I was ever going to be a golfer. And I don't know, I guess you start when you're really young. 42 probably was a little old to start that.
I don't know. That just may not be your thing. You know, some people are, I mean, I've golfed. Could I be a good golfer? I don't know.
You can probably hit the ball.
I can hit the ball, but I did learn that you got to keep your head down and keep your eye on the ball. Because if you don't do that, you won't. But
I have a spatial perception problem, and I recently have read, I mean, literally this week, I read that is one of the earliest clues now they think of Alzheimer's. So, Lord help me, I don't want anything like that.
Oh,
so,
no. Yeah.
But spatial perception has been a problem for me. Even elementary school, when you're playing dodgeball or you're playing softball and you know, junior high, all those sports, everybody thought because I was tall, I would be athletic. No, I didn't then know where my body was in relation to the ball, so I couldn't catch it, I couldn't hit it, none of that. So,
yeah, because I would have made that same assumption.
I just hit
the microphone. Because you're tall, you know.
Yeah, everybody thinks you're athletic.
But you know, can we take a little rabbit trail as far as spatial?
Absolutely, because we can go back. We'll go back to this. I can edit and create whatever videos.
Because I have always been very good at that. And like in packing, or like when I was married to my first husband, we had kids, and we'd go somewhere, I would always pack the car because I could spatially figure it out. Now, I'm not good at saying, oh, that's 100 yards. I am terrible about that. You know, I don't know how long this table is. I don't care. But, I mean, I can measure it. But as far as spatial and as far as my body, but I say all that to say it's interesting you brought that up because lately I have been just quietly bothered, not shared with anybody until now, that I'm off. I'm off on some of that. And I mean, like, I could, sounds crazy, but I could go to the bathroom in the dark, and know where everything was. But now, like, I might walk out and clip the door facing.
Oh my goodness. Is that one of the first times you've done that? I've done
Yeah.
that my whole life.
No, see.
You walk through a doorway and you hit your elbow or you hit your hand and hit your
I've
shoulder.
always been very aware of my surroundings and the space. But lately, and now that makes me really worry because of you saying that about Alzheimer's. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to really focus on
You
that.
know what? You
Just
eat anything can get Alzheimer's. So just
different things, just small little things that nobody would ever see or notice on me, but I notice. And I don't know. I mean, does that happen to you guys that are as we say, of a certain age? I mean, we're getting older.
Over 65?
Yeah. And so I was a little worried about that. Now I guess I am worried about that.
No, I don't think that's it.
I don't
Earlier
know.
you said your ear was bothering you. You could have a little ear thing
that
going
just
on.
started. This has been going on.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's just been very, very subtle. But like, if something's on the table, I know exactly where. At night, I have, my glasses, my phone, my eye drops, and I usually know where that is spatially, unless my arm falls asleep and then I can't feel it. But yeah, I've noticed that. I'd be interested to know if anybody else, if any of you guys have noticed that and what you think or what you're doing about it. Little rabbit trail.
I would love it if someone would make comments about that.
Yeah, that would be great.
That's a lot of
I'd
work.
like to know. I benefit from anything anybody's learned.
Okay, I just want to say, in case people watch and they do want to make comments, I am a trauma survivor and I have had a lot of therapy to recover. So the being out of your body, not being in your body and good at sports, a lot of that, I just write it off. That's about my trauma history, where you're just not in your body. Now, at 42, I've had a lot of recovery on board by that time. And, the golfing thing, I think, was a lot of it is, the twisting and I did get in 4 lessons, I got where I understood the grip and I could hit the ball. So, I mean, it was a little bit of progress, but,
well, that is progress if you can swing and hit the ball, and only 4 lessons. I mean, you just didn't probably have the interest to go further. You could have gotten, you could have gotten better.
And if my husband was if he was really a golfer, then that would be something I would want to join him to do as a retired person. But he's not. He doesn't golf. Yeah. But if you want to golf, I might learn it just so we could do it together.
The thing about golf, and I'll just end here, is that I did love it. At the time I did it with a dear friend who's now passed away, and I enjoyed my time with him. He was best friends with my husband. But it also gave me time away from work and children. But now, to take that much time on a golf course, I don't want to do. I want to be doing something else, like sewing or embroidering or doing this, So it's just not my interest. I think I know we could both get better at it. We could get where we could play and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to take that whole afternoon to do that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. It's a big time suck.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so now on to what it takes to make new friends. Step 3. Step 3 is important, but it's not step 1 important. The first 2 really have to happen first. Initiate, step out of your box. But step 3 is to be curious. Focus on curiosity. So I want to talk about how anxious people show up in a group. One anxious person is going to show up with their energy goes outward, and they get very animated, they get loud, they monopolize the conversation, they tell everybody their drama, and their energy is just bigger and bigger because they're anxious. The other anxiety is going to show up. Well, first of all, people that are super anxious might not go to the party. So that might be a step out of your box and go where you're going to be around people that you don't know a lot of them. What is Susan doing right now?
I was watering. Oh, was I on camera?
No.
Over there? Okay, good.
No, but you got up and walked away. I was like,
Well,
what happened? Where'd you
sorry,
go?
I was watering and I didn't know how to gracefully do that, so I just got up.
Okay, that's fine. But anyway, we're talking about how does anxiety manifest itself in a group setting, or so one person, big energy, and we've seen that before where people they take over the conversation, they're just big drama, and that's anxiety. Another person might withdraw, and they're the one that's sitting kind of by themselves or not really participating in conversations, or maybe they did for a little bit and now they're kind of just going to sit and relax for a little bit. That's anxiety. Now,
Our squeeze toy. You're gonna have to cut this.
okay, this is a good video for what happens when you've asked your husband and he's agreed that he's going to take care of the dogs so that they're not noisy during the video.
But the dogs aren't noisy. It's a squeak toy. So
She's having a good time.
if you're kind of a literal person, you would say, well, the dog wasn't making any noise.
Okay, so just breathe for a minute.
Yes.
Cut that out. Okay, so we're talking about how when someone is anxious and they are showing up at a party, they might have forced themselves to go, because most anxious people, if you have social anxiety, they're going to skip parties. But they show up. So one way they can show up is the person who is huge and big and noisy and dominates the conversation and telling everybody all their business, no boundaries. Another anxious person might sit and they really don't participate. They're sort of the bump on a log at the party. So if you're new, for whatever reason, you need to make new friends. I'm here to say, don't ignore those people and how they show up at a party. That they may actually be pretty decent people outside of that brand new experience and the way their anxiety, comes up.
I think I can be either thing. I think sometimes, but I think more, I talk too much when I'm around my friends, because my husband doesn't talk, so I talk a lot when I'm around somebody that wants to have a conversation.
My husband doesn't talk that much either.
Yeah, so when I have
until he
somebody
gets on a roll.
Oh.
If he gets on a roll or a rant, oh my God. But no, normally,
mine will, telling a story, I'm like, oh God, the story. But conversation-wise, he's not very much of a conversationalist. But normally I would just withdraw, because it's very hard for me to make myself go to a party
where you don't know people. Well, the thing is if you already have a lot of friends, you're not going to show up at parties where you don't know anybody, unless it's someone's wedding and you just love that person, you're going to do it for them. But I'm talking about when you really need the friends. It's an opportunity for you. And so put yourself out there, but be curious. Be curious. And those people who show up either one of those ways will probably be someone that you can be curious about. Find out.
That's a good point. I was looking at it from the loud or quiet person, but you're saying that if you are in that setting and you see that kind of behavior, reach out to that person, because very likely they're there and they're nervous either way they're acting, and you could draw them in and make them feel better.
Well, and yes, you're exactly right. You said that so well. Thank you. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't write them off because they're the person who isn't talking to people, or they're the person who is being loud and, telling everybody everything. And
That's the person that's easy for me to write off. And I so appreciate you saying this, because that's the person I'm like, they don't know the rules.
Well, and actually, yes. And so what I'm saying is, you may, if you were to have a conversation with them and you did get to know them outside of the context of this party, where this is how they showed up when they're anxious, they may appear very different.
Yeah,
and
I appreciate that.
When people are more comfortable, the size of their personality, I guess, can come out.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's a good.
But for those who are anxious,
think about.
If you're going to this party and you don't know a lot of people, I always tell my clients, focus on curiosity. Why are those people there? How do they know the host? What did they do for fun this weekend? What do they like to do, for fun during the week? Where did they used to work if they're retired? There's all kinds of ways of asking people, not the yes, no questions, but open-ended questions. Tell me, be curious about them, who they are. And hopefully you will meet someone who reciprocates. So given what I said,
questions
yeah,
are questions that require something other than a yes and no. Probably most everybody knows that, but in case you're like, oh, what would that be? It would be like, how did you meet so-and-so? Or instead of, do y'all work together? Because that's a yes or a no.
That's a yes or no. Yeah. Okay, so step 4. And step 4 is probably, it's based on my own spirituality, I guess. I want to say for step 4 is, it's important before you go into any of those situations where you're trying to make new friends, that you connect first with what is true. What is true in the world is that all human beings have inherent worth. All of us are a child of God, worthy of love and acceptance. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to be pretty enough or smart enough or make enough money or drive a certain car. Those societal values are put upon us. And the essence of what is true is that you have inherent worth. And someone's response to you, whether they gravitate to you or whether you initiate and they walk away, or whatever it is that they respond, it is not about you. It doesn't change anything about your inherent worth. And so, before you enter, and there's some books I think that we could put maybe some links to that can help you really connect with that essential truth. Because having that foundation of truly inside knowing that, and what we call that is an internal boundary. So deep inside of me, I know that I am worthy and I'm lovable. And when I really know that, anyone else's response, it's just their response. I don't care. So one way to say it is, anything that happens beyond this point is not my business. It doesn't change,
you are.
Who I am.
Who
exactly. Yeah. So that's step 4.
That's a big step, though.
Yeah,
That's a really big step.
It is. And when you, that took me therapy to get to the place where I am living that. Because it's one thing to know it and tell clients about it, but it really is another thing to have it internalized. And I went through some similar things actually when I moved here. And I had someone in my life that was repeatedly, I told you about this, repeatedly telling me what other people were saying about me. And at the time, I just felt confused, because how is it that people who don't know me, you've talked to me for 1 minute tops, you saw me in a room for 15 minutes tops, so how is it that all of this is directed towards me? Well, the truth is, it was not about me. And I really was I can't say that I was fine with it because I, at that time, was wanting to make new friends.
Mm-hmm.
But it just told me, well, you know, those aren't my people.
check
Those
them
are my
off the
people.
list.
And, but also there was a lot of messed up stuff that was happening, you know, during that time. And so I've made some changes in a lot of ways so that I don't have anyone in my life anymore that tells me what other people say about me.
I started to say the first messed up person in your life was the one that was coming to tell you what Sally said.
Even after I said, I don't need to know. I really don't. That's not helpful. Don't do that. Don't tell me.
My daughter.
But there was something happening where she continued to feel like she needed to tell me and how I took up for you. And it's like, that is messed up. So, yeah. It's not good.
My daughter will say, I'll start telling something. She'll say, you know, Mom, that's really not something that I need to hear. And she has helped me a lot just in doing that in a kind way. I realize, you know, and I think the day that I came to realize, or the part of my life that I came to realize that, you know, that's not my story to tell. That was a very freeing day.
Mm-hmm.
Not that that's about that, but that's what that made me think of. Yeah.
As you were talking, it reminded me of when Eric and I separated. It's been, I think it was 12 years ago, 10 years ago. Maybe 9.
Some time ago.
It's been a long time ago, but when we did separate, it was a very painful period for me. And I was getting my private practice going, so I had a lot of work that I was doing, and I was so frustrated. And both of my daughters, because this is her stepdad, Eric, both of my daughters set a boundary and said, Mom, I do not want to hear anything. I don't want to hear any of it. And, you know, I really respected that about them. I was impressed with them, that they were setting a limit with me, because at that time they were in their early 20s, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so we need people that can set boundaries.
Yes.
We need friends that can do it. We need our, you know, other people in our life. We need that because it helps. It's kind of like a little road map where, you know where the stop signs are.
Well, and it also helps you know that you can set boundaries. I think
I had to have a lot of therapy to get to that place, but I definitely know I can set boundaries. But there aren't that many people in the world that know how to do that.
No, you're right.
And it's being able to say the word no.
It's a process of learning how to do that. Especially when you're a caregiver or someone that, you know, maybe your self-worth is in doing for others. You know, that's a hard no to say.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think, what was it? Was it in one of the videos that I talked about you doing that? Yeah. It's one of the videos where I was saying, I really appreciate that about you, that you have a good, open heart. You are so caring about other people. I mean, first of all, a nurse, there's no way in hell. Although, if you're a counselor, you're in a nurse. You are helping people. True.
Yeah.
But you've got good boundaries, so you're not in the victim place ever of, oh, woe is me, I've done this and this, but not now.
Mm-hmm.
This version of you that I'm friends with, you know, you've grown through that. And I needed therapy to do it, but therapy just makes things happen faster. That's all. It really does, because without it, you can still get there. It's just going to take longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So now we're on to step 5.
Yay.
Okay, step 5 in making new friends. It is reciprocity. So now you are in the process of collecting friends, trying out who is it that's compatible, and making play dates, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. You're making time together. You're initiating those times together. Now it's time for you to be mindful of the pacing. Pacing is so important. When you have made a new friend, it's really important that you don't bombard them with contact. emails, texts, phone calls. Well, nobody calls anymore, but it's real important that you allow lots of space in between contact. That gives the other person an opportunity to reciprocate. And any healthy friendship has to have what we call reciprocity. And that's just a big word that means back and forth, give and take. I reach out and initiate some, and now you reach out and initiate some. If one person is doing all of the initiating, which, let's face it, in the beginning, you might be doing more of the initiating, but if you're doing all the initiating, this is not going to work. It's not going to be a healthy friendship.
Because it's not a give and take.
Yeah.
It's a give and take.
Exactly. And at some point, you will be resentful about
Yeah.
that.
Good.
Yeah. Let me see if there's anything else that I didn't say.
Well, I can tell you about my experience when I got here. Was one of not the first time I had to recreate community, as my husband calls it.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's probably from your church mindset too.
I don't know.
I think in terms of community, like the word community.
Yeah, that's his term for it. I've never used it, but he does. He says I create community, but it's because I don't know, need? Is it, maybe it's okay to need, maybe?
Oh, we all do.
I need that part in my life. And when we moved here, of course, I didn't know anybody. I've got great neighbors, but at that point, I really didn't know them that well. But he was the one that found the Gulf Coast Friends group.
Joe did?
Joe found it on Nextdoor or something. And they were, saying that they were going to have a meeting or whatever. And so he told me about it. And
is that how you met Linda Farrar?
Well, I didn't meet Linda first. When they had their first, the first meeting I went to was a lunch meeting at Ruby Tuesdays, which, by the way, I don't go to anymore, but that's another story.
We need to talk about Ruby Tuesday.
No, not today. But I went there. And it took everything I had to go because I am nervous about, or maybe I have some social anxiety. But I found a table of ladies sitting there, and it ended up being Bonnie.
You met Bonnie that way?
I met Bonnie that way.
Oh,
and
Bonnie is adorable.
Or Tess, it was her nickname. And Bonnie and Teresa had worked together as nurses, and they were both retired. And I just sat down there at their table. And then we started talking. And the minute that we knew that we were retired nurses and that we were retired OR nurses, that was a bond.
Absolutely.
And then Bonnie was very gracious, and so was Teresa, about kind of including me and invited me to their house. So you got lucky
because she initiated.
Yes.
That was good. Yes. I got lucky too when I first got here.
And then
I met Rose.
From that, I found out that my next door neighbor Janet was a member. She wasn't there that day. And then it just kind of snowballed. And I got my community started from Gulf Coast Friends, which is a plug for Gulf Coast Friends. It's a group of women.
And we don't belong anymore?
We don't, although I'm still on the fence. I don't know.
Well, they do a yearly craft fair at a church.
Yeah.
And we did it together last year.
Yes.
So I imagine I will join to do the craft fair. If you do it, I'll probably do it.
I am going to do
the craft fair. You are going to do it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm just on the fence as to whether I'm going to place membership, just because I never went this past year. From that community, I have an offset community. And we, as a group, including Laura, we get together once a month. So it's kind of the same thing, only in a smaller group, because I do love a smaller group.
Me too.
Because you really get to be more intimate and know each other better. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so that's how that started.
I love that story.
I know.
So I know that there was a time in my life, and probably around the time I moved here maybe, because I'd never moved and had to start over with friends. But I remember thinking, if I can cultivate one contact, one friend from each of the things I get involved in, that's a success. And so that leads you to more people because you meet their friends.
Yeah.
And but I mean, it takes time. So we've been here 4.5 years, and I am so rich in terms of friends.
Me too. I'm so thankful.
But in the beginning, no, I didn't have anybody. Had my husband. We spent a lot of time together, which was fun, actually.
Yeah.
But my heart goes out to people though that are in that phase of a support deficit, a friendship. That lonely place, and you can come out of it. You absolutely 100% you can come out of it. It's going to take some effort. It's going to take some effort and some scary stuff on your part.
I make myself speak to people. I literally have to make myself.
I don't know. I've always been told, and I've seen this with you. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
And I've had my ADHD meds, so I have no excuse of why I'm interrupting you.
Except that you have something important to say. It's okay.
Well, when you talk about that, I see you talking to anybody. Like my husband used to say, you'll talk to people in the elevator. Like I could make a conversation literally with anybody. Except if I'm in a group with a lot of people I don't know, and they're all talking because they know each other and I don't. That's a whole different deal. But yeah, I see you as being very gregarious.
I make myself do that. And my daughter says exactly what you said. She says, Mama will talk to anybody. And her husband will be with her, and she'll go, watch, Mama's going to tell this police officer, thanks for his service. Well, surely I'll do that. And I make myself do that because it's important to me. And I think it makes that person feel better. Because when somebody gives me positive feedback of any type, believe me, I feel better. So I want to do that. If I see a lady in the grocery store and I think her outfit's pretty, I'll go, oh, I love your outfit.
That's a Southern thing.
It is.
I do the same thing.
But, it just makes them feel better. And
not if they're from New York.
And that's their problem. Again, that's their problem.
Well, it's a cultural thing.
Yeah, but if they don't appreciate me saying that, then they receive it in their manner. I still feel better about it. But I don't know. I just I do make the point. I make myself do it.
I don't have to make myself. It's just coming out of my mouth. I like to think if I'm in a good mood that I'm just friendly.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm friendly. I just may not step out of the box enough to say something to somebody, and it is easier now, but it's something that doesn't usually come natural with people, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
But if you step out of that box and you do that, because
I did not know that.
I came from low self-esteem.
Yes, me too.
And people would go, what now? But it's because I step over that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I wanted to share something that, you reminded me of as we were talking. I'm so curious about what your reaction is to this or what other people's reaction is. So, one of my daughters came to visit, and Eric and I have just a few restaurants that we really like to go to. He loves Mexican food. So we were at one of our Mexican food restaurants, and we've gone enough that we know the waitress is named Haley. She's adorable. She's very, we get great service, and we know a little bit about her life because we talk. We talk to her. So my daughter comes in. This is my daughter from Los Angeles. And when we sat down at the table, and I said, Haley, I want you to meet my daughter. And I introduced them. The waitress walks away, and my daughter was furious.
Really?
She was so furious. She said, I do not want some random person knowing my name or where I'm from. Because I said, she's from Los Angeles and she's here visiting. And I have still no words for why that happened.
That's
Like, I
very
don't understand that.
interesting.
I don't understand it. But what I heard her say is, you know, I'm a private person. And so for her, that felt like I was somehow invading her privacy or crossing over a boundary or something.
Wow.
And so, I mean, I won't make that mistake again. But if you and I had lunch and we were there and it was Haley, I'd say, Haley, look, there's one of my best friends. This is, you know, I would do that. I can't imagine that you'd be mad about it.
No. Yeah. And knowing you, that's really surprising to me. Because I can't see that bothering you. But, you know, if that's her feeling, that's her.
Yeah.
Wow.
Live and learn.
Wow.
You know.
She get over it quickly?
She did. I mean, she's adorable. She really is.
Yeah.
There's so many. I mean, I could do a whole video really, and maybe I will do that for her birthday.
Oh.
You know, but
Yeah.
she's wonderful. Both of my daughters are wonderful.
Oh, I love our kids.
But yeah, we got lucky. But we also had to work hard.
I was trying to say, yeah, I don't know if it was that much luck. Just,
Yeah.
well, maybe it was. The Lord said, you know, you've got enough. You'll have good kids. I don't know. I don't know that. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
What does it say we've been talking for 10 hours? What does that say?
Well, like I could see that. No, there's no way.
No, I can't see it either.
Maybe 2.
2? It's 11, 12.
Can't
All right,
tell.
I'm going to
Yes.
stop it for just a minute here.